can't get the lights to switch on. God, it's not opening my room. There's a sort of a high-pitched noise. The toilet paper is too small and too thin. It's sort of hanging on for dear life. I was accused of sticking probes in the food. Hello, my name is Emma Lemonn and today I'm going to be staying at and reviewing the Premier Inn in Rochdale, Milne Row, Greater Manchester. This is the reception area. It's quite cosy. There's the door that leads to the rooms. And over here there's a little resting area. And there's a couple of vending machines. Well, there's one vending machine. And this is quite a nice touch here, I thought, is there's books. Right, I'm here seeking out my room. Should be along here. Here we go. Sorry about my squeaky suitcase wheel. We are in one of these. Here we go. Let's take a look at the room. As usual, we open the door with, we're supposed to open it with that. Why isn't it opening? It's not opening. Oh, God. It's not opening my room. Oh, I've got the wrong room. Oh, dear, I'm in the wrong room. I was trying to open somebody else's door. Right, this is the correct one. In we go. So, upon entering, my first thought is there is a damp smell. Yeah, there's a very damp smell in here. That's my first thought. Let's pop the key card into here. So, as usual with Premier Inns, there's a slot to put the card into to switch the lights on. And this has a separate key card. Some of them you put the door key in. But this one has a separate card. But it's not switching the lights on. Other way around, maybe? Nope. Right, I don't know what's happening here. Oh, there we go. The lights are on. I needed to push it in a bit more firmly. So here we go. So as I said, it's a separate card for the lights. So I'm going to put my key on there so I don't lose it. That's a little bit frustrating because usually if you put the key card in here and you don't need a separate card for the lights, you know you're not going to lose it, whereas I've had to put it on there, so hopefully I don't lose it. Now, have we got lights for the rest of the room? Yes, we have. And as we walk in, we're faced with the usual standard wardrobeless wardrobe with the big mirror on the front, the vanity stand with the hairdryer and a light. Hey. And a couple of hooks up there. That's quite standard in Premier Inns. I can't see any issues with them currently. Aside from around this light, there is a... I don't know if you can see it on there, but there's a strange thing going on that I've not noticed in other Premier Inns. I don't know, it's like it's sort of worn, but that's just a minor cosmetic flaw. So entering the room, we have got the lamp as standard. See if that works. That's working perfectly. The desk with the controls and the eating instructions. I haven't noticed this before in a Premier Inn, but it may be that I just haven't paid any attention to it. Big television on the wall. Again, as standard in Premier Inns, we have got our kettle and the 2 glass cups and a couple of teaspoons, the little box with the usual refreshments. You get tea, coffee, sugar, fake sugar, brown sugar, and everything looks nice and clean. We have a window over there. Now my window is looking out onto this view here, which is pleasant enough. The car park, nice and green. And it's quite nice because I'm expecting some friends to come and visit tomorrow, so we will be able to see when the car turns up. That's quite a pleasant view. Little magpie down there. 1 for sorrow. That's how the rhyme goes, doesn't it? 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy. I can't see another one. Hopefully that won't be a bad omen, especially as regard this room goes. Now, no smoking, and the window doesn't open, but there is air conditioning in the room, so we'll shortly see how that works, hopefully. We've got a chair. Now, normally I travel with children or companion, and there's another bed there, but in the absence of there being another bed, I've got this chair, which is quite nice. And the bed looks pretty big, actually. I guess it's always that big, but because I'm travelling alone this time, it looks bigger than usual. But that looks quite nice. Can't see see what's going on here. It looks pretty clean. The usual lamps, the purple light above. Pictures on the wall. I'm pleased to see we have the flowers and not the horrific tower blocks that some Premier Inns decide to have. This bed looks bigger than usual to me. It really does. It really does. So, And another little bedside thing here. We don't have the USB sockets that some have, but I've bought my USB charger thingy with me, so that's not a problem. And of course we have a chair at the desk here. Let's have a look, because I often find these are filthy. Yeah, as chairs go in Premier Inns, that is fairly clean. This looks like a particularly clean room at the moment, I have to say. And that bed looks huge. I'm going to have to lay on it to see how big it is. Now, I'm 5'2", so let's have a look. That's amazing. I've never stayed in a Premier Inn room on my own before, without a partner or without children. And the one time I do, they give me the biggest bed in the world. This is amazing. Okay, upon looking more closely, I now see that the bed is huge because it is 2 single beds pushed together. Whether this is going to feel a bit strange when I go to sleep tonight, I don't know, but yeah, it's definitely, as you can see there, 2 singles pushed together. But yeah, it's fine. It's just me. I don't need a huge bed. So that's okay. And there's the air conditioning on the wall, which we will check out in a bit. Let's have a look at the bathroom, which I'm anticipating will look exactly like every other Premier Inn bathroom. We will have a little look. Looking lovely and clean. I have to say, this is probably the cleanest Premier Inn I've stayed in. Really, 10 out of 10 for cleanliness. The controversial thing we will look at in a bit. Oh, now, I've never had one of these shower heads before in a Premier Inn. So it'll be interesting how I feel about that. Usually they have those really big square shower heads. So that's a first for me. But the cleanliness here, I have to say, is really good. I can't see a spot of dirt anywhere. Really clean. Let's check out the thickness of the toilet paper. That does feel quite thin. Yeah, we'll see what I think about that in a bit. Now I'd like to check this. These are the things I always end up checking now after having substandard experience in Chesterfield Premier Inn. Yeah, that's the nice product. Happy with that. So I shall be enjoying using that. Yeah. Slight smear on the mirror up there, but certainly nothing I'm going to get upset about. So overall, my first impression of this Premier Inn room is that I'm very, very happy with it. Not a problem with it at the moment, but only time will tell how I feel about it at the end of my stay. So I showed you a little clip there of the shower running because there was quite a noisy pipe while the shower was running. I don't know if it picked up on the camera, but it sort of had a sort of high-pitched noise while the shower was running, which was a little bit irritating, to be honest. But, you know, obviously once you're lying in your bath and the taps aren't on, then it's fine, but it that was a little bit irritating. But I have to say, the shower head that I had been a little bit worried about was brilliant. Don't have a problem with it. Nice and powerful, lots of water coming out. That is not an issue for me at all. However, something I thought might be an issue is this toilet paper is extremely flimsy. It disappears to nothing. You look at that, like it just turns into a tiny ball. So, you know, if you need to use a reasonable amount, even if you take several pieces out, it's just quite thin, and it's like I would probably need to use like 10 sheets of it to make it usable. I don't know why, but in some Premier Inns, it seems to be they've got maybe slightly bigger 3-ply sheets, and in some Premier Inns, they have smaller 2-ply sheets. These are the smaller 2-ply sheets, and I just don't find them substantial. Like I said, they just screw up into absolutely nothing, a tiny ball. My personal preference would be for larger sheets or proper toilet roll or 3-ply. It's just the way I feel about it. I know it's a bit, you might be thinking, oh, being a bit picky, but it is quite important to me to have decent toilet roll, quite frankly. It's the first night, it's bedtime. The problem I'm finding, and this might be because the bed is so huge, is the sheets aren't fitting properly. They're all just coming away already. I've just sat on this bed a bit, and look, the sheet is just loose and flapping around. The undersheet thing is kind of stretching to stay on. You can see there, look, it's sort of hanging on for dear life. I'd rather have a smaller bed with a sheet fitting nicely. Look, it's all coming away at the top here. You can see, yeah, between the two beds. So, it's not great. We'll see how I sleep tonight anyway in it. I mean, I doubt I'm going to notice the crack in the middle. But if I wake up and the sheet's completely off, that will be a bit annoying. At the top here, there's a little wire sticking out there, which obviously isn't a major issue, but it is bugging me slightly. And there's another thing I've noticed, which might be important to some people, about the bed. Well, again, aside from the fact that the sheet is completely coming off and I haven't even spent a night in it yet. But anyway, beside the point. Now, as you may or may not know, I'm a single lady, so all I'm going to be doing is sleeping in this bed. However, I have noticed certain movements on this bed are very squeaky. It's the same on the other side, because of course this is a different bed, but on this side it's the same. So basically all I'm saying is, if you're not a single person, you're probably going to get a lot of sleep in this hotel. Well, it's now the next morning and I'm going to make my way down to breakfast. So must remember the card for the lights and also the key card, because as I said, they're separate in this particular Premier Inn. Not experienced that before. I'm going to put my little snoozy sign on the door because I don't want anyone going in and cleaning it just yet. Okay, so we're going to make our way down the corridor. One thing I would say about this particular Premier Inn, something is important to point out, I think, is that there are no lifts. So if you've got mobility issues, you might want to consider asking for a room on the ground floor. It's a bit of a maze up here. I'm just trying to work out which way I'm going. Right, it's this way. So yeah, I'll show you the staircase so you know what you're dealing with. Okay. There's not many stairs, but just there isn't a lift. I think it's important to point that out. Oh no, here she
a few of them this morning.
There's a really noisy person in reception today.
Yeah, it's Brian.
No,
The internet sensation, apparently.
Oh, are you an internet sensation?
So wise.
To go to the restaurant in this particular Premier Inn, you need to leave the door and go out into the open. So you get a quick breath of fresh air before you partake in your breakfast delicacies.
And don't be confused, it is not that door, even though somebody just came out of it. It is not that door.
And it does say breakfast. Oh yeah, this is quite important. It's it says breakfast entrance and points to that door. But no, as my companion here has just said, it isn't that door. That's a little bit confusing. So, well, my companion is going to show us which is the right door, because she's experienced.
I am, extremely.
So it's not an on-site restaurant, it's actually in sort of like a pubby thing next door is where you have your meals in this particular Premier Inn.
Hello again.
It's quite a pleasant area for having your breakfast. You can look out over the greenery, which is very nice. Or if you prefer, you can look out over the car park, which is also actually very nice, especially on a sunny day like this. Can't guarantee the sun, but we've got a lovely sunny day today. So we've got laid out on this table, we have got some bananas at the top there, and we've got 2 kinds of fresh fruit, well, loose fruit, red berries and mixed fruit there. We've got a single pot of yoghurt, natural yoghurt in some ice. Could do with some more yoghurts. And we have got 3 different juices and some water. So the fruit's on the right there. And then over to this table here, we have got a couple of toasters, bread, brown and white, cupcakes, crumpets. I wonder if something's missing from here. And on the top we have croissants and pain au chocolat. And we've got milk, just one type of milk here. Other Premier Inns, I've seen them have different kinds, like soya milk. Looks like we've just got one here. You could probably request a different one if you want to. And then there's the spreads and the cereals. So in here, I think because it's not a huge Premier Inn, there's not, there seems to be, a smaller amount of everything. But the whole selection is here, you usually get, as far as I can see. And there is the station to make the hot drinks. So I quite like the way it's laid out in here. It feels a little bit more relaxed. Some Premier Inns, it sort of feels, it feels very exposed and chaotic, whereas in here it's got a nice relaxing feeling. We're going to return to our table because you order the hot food for breakfast in this Premier Inn. You don't have a breakfast buffet like some Premier Inns. But we can cope with that. But it's worth mentioning, because some people may not like that kind of thing. But it still has the full selection that you would normally get in a Premier Inn. We have a menu, and unlimited cooked breakfast is listed here. So you could just order as many times as you want. It's still unlimited, but it's just that you don't have a buffet to pick from. You have to order from the menu. Probably because it's smaller and it's like a pub place.
The one good thing about it...
Oh, my companion is joining in here.
The one good thing about it is that what happens then is that most of the food, not all of it obviously, but most of the food is freshly cooked, like the eggs and things like that. They're not sitting out on hot plates.
Well, I was going to say that. They're freshly cooked, but also it means that, no one stuck their finger or a probe in it.
Yeah.
If you've watched my Blackpool Premier Inn video, you will know that I was accused of sticking probes in the food, and I absolutely didn't. And I haven't been accused of that here yet, but you never know. No, so... it's not been sitting out and no one sneezed over it. So it can be a positive, actually, Some people like the buffet style where they can sneakily eat as much as they want without people realising how much. Some people like ordering it fresh, so yeah, it's a matter of choice. I'm fine with either, to be fair. Anyway, eats. Oh, it's worth having a look at this fella over here, I think. I think it's really nicely decorated in here. I know this isn't actually the Premier Inn, is it? Oh, it's owned by the Premier Inn, so yeah. It's part of it. Yeah, it's a nice, real pleasant place to sit and have something to eat, actually. Maybe the sun is making me feel like that, but it's nice. I approve. I like it. I've opted for 2 eggs and some mushrooms and a piece of toast, and my companion here, so you can sort of see the fuller breakfast, has gone for a full English in this fashion and some toast, and it all looks rather tasty, and as I said, all freshly cooked, so that's lovely. Right, let's get into it. Just been downstairs having a real laugh with Brian on reception. Really funny. If you come and stay at this Premier Inn, go and have a chat with him. He is utterly hilarious. My sister and I were just down there chatting to him for ages, like at least half an hour, and oh my god, we had a real laugh. We had to tear ourselves away though. Oh, is the light's going to come on? I don't like the way that the lights take a while to switch on in here. It's probably just me not having the knack. Oh, it takes me a while to get them to switch on. Put it in the right way. Maybe they just take a while to switch on. I had this trouble yesterday when I arrived. You might remember. Are they switching on? Oh, I might have to go down to reception and find out what's going on. I can't get the lights to switch on in my room. Yeah, I don't like the way that we have a separate card for the lights. I mean, it doesn't make any difference. If it doesn't work, does it? But I'm going to have to walk all the way back down to reception now to get that fixed, which is slightly annoying. Right, off we go. Back we go. And the reason it's slightly annoying, one of the reasons, is because it's such a long walk. I will take you on the walk. Okay, all sorted now. Apparently this had come away. This is broken. It's come away, and so it wasn't working. So it's got to be pressed flush against there, and they're going to log it as a job. So anyway, we have lights again at last. Well, I've now reached the end of my stay at the Premier Inn in Rochdale, and I have to say it's been a very nice stay. I have really enjoyed this one. The staff here, exceptional, very friendly, very fun, very upbeat. That's been lovely. At breakfast, you didn't feel rushed, you didn't feel judged. We sat there for such a long time at breakfast chatting. You didn't feel like they were waiting for you to leave. They were attentive, they were friendly. Lovely waitress lady we had. I don't know her name, but blonde lady, slim, beautiful, really lovely. There was a beautiful lady on the desk when we arrived on the first day, and we met Brian. He was fun. Everybody here has made us feel very welcome, and that has probably been the highlight of this Premier Inn. The room has also been very clean. I can't fault the room. It's been lovely and clean. And also walking around the whole hotel, it's had a lovely smell. I mean, sometimes genuinely there has been a smell and I've wanted to say to them, what are you using? I need this smell in my house. It's lovely. I love the cleanliness. My criticism would be the 2 twin beds pushed together. I would rather that not be the case, particularly because I just couldn't keep the sheet on. It's not a fitted sheet, it's a flat sheet, but it's like it doesn't quite fit over. And that was just coming off. That was annoying. And the other criticism would be the toilet paper is too small and too thin for my preference. But those points aside, I don't think I had any other issues. Breakfast was lovely, freshly cooked. The room is clean and spotless. I slept brilliantly the 2 nights I've been here. So yeah, I would say Rochdale Premier Inn, well done. I've really enjoyed my stay here. And if you've seen my other Premier Inn reviews, do check them out. You will know that I'm not, I am quite picky. I'll look at the minute details. So yeah, good, top marks for Rochdale Premier Inn. If you like this kind of content and want to see my other Premier Inn reviews, you can check out this playlist here, and there's some in there. Otherwise, YouTube thinks you might like what's in this playlist, well, this video here. Otherwise, do please like and subscribe, and I'm sure I will see you again really soon. Bye for now.